Yes.
with them. But there's also the other side of the equation, which is concerns about privacy or proprietary information. And that is something that I'm focusing on particularly right now, where it is and this is very common in international law, where you have maybe an obligation or kind of a goal on the one hand, but on the other hand, you do have rights of individuals, and you need to find a proper balance there. So you can't just, there are certain data elements linked to fisheries that are also linked to individuals, because people work on vessels, people own
Right.
vessels, people benefit from the vessel activity. So
Right.
there is a link there between intellectual property law or personal data protection law, the right to privacy. And what I'm doing now specifically is researching, okay, where, I'm currently looking at 30 case studies of different countries, where I'm looking at all of the protections that could possibly exist for fisheries data. So first is looking at, okay, is there any way you can, under this jurisdiction, should certain data elements be protected, or because, it might violate the right to privacy of a person that's on board of the vessel, or it might give away a trade secret because where they're fishing, how they're fishing, etc., is something that's benefiting the company, etc. Where type of protections you find really depends on the jurisdiction, the legal culture, just a lot of different elements there. But basically, the first question there is, do these barriers exist? Because a lot of countries sometimes keep the door closed to certain NGOs because they say these barriers exist. And sometimes NGOs don't quite believe that, and they feel they're just unwilling to collaborate with them. And so my first approach is really just to see, is that assumption of the unwillingness true? Because if it is true, then okay, then you need to find a way, if that is really the barrier that they see, you need to find a way to work around it.
Yes.
And very often in the law, there are all these exceptions that are foreseen, or things you can do to mitigate the risk around the data being leaked or being made public, etc. So it's definitely not that if, you find one challenge somewhere that there's no way to still achieve a higher level of fisheries transparency. But I think we just need to be very diligent about what data elements are we talking about? Is it valuable? Okay, for these ones where we know it is valuable, what are the legal barriers that may exist? And they don't come from fisheries law. They come from all these other fields of private law that everyone kind of fails to consider, because who knows anything about personal data protection when they work in a Ministry of Fisheries?